Developing now, police in Ohio are trying to determine if a man who attacked people with a machete had terrorist ties. Witnesses say the man walked into a restaurant in Columbus last night and started slashing. CBS's Jeff Begays has the latest.
He came to each table and just started hitting them.
Witnesses described the bloody scene at the Middle Eastern restaurant Nazareth in Columbus, Ohio last night. A man armed with a machete stormed in and marched from table to table, striking diners.
There was a man on the floor bleeding. There was blood on the floor. It was awful. It was just carnage.
Police say the suspect visited the restaurant and talked with an employee earlier in the day. Police say it's not clear what the discussion was about. Investigators say less than an hour later he came back and began his violent rampage.
The second time, nothing was said.
4 people were taken to the hospital. 1 person in critical condition is expected to survive. The suspect fled, and after a 5-mile car chase, investigators say he got out of his vehicle armed with a machete and a knife.
251, the vehicle stopped. He is trying to get out of the vehicle.
He lunged across the hood at the officers. Another officer in a cruiser fired a couple shots at him and put him down.
CBS News has learned that investigators have identified the suspected attacker as Mohammed Berry. Investigators believe that he may have traveled internationally to Dubai in 2012 and that he has a Somali background. It's still early on in this investigation, but investigators are concerned that this incident has the hallmarks of the type of lone wolf terrorist attack that they have been working to stop. Jeff Begays, CBS News, Washington.
4 people are injured and a suspect is dead following a terrifying machete attack at an Ohio deli. Investigators haven't confirmed a motive for the attack, but they also haven't ruled out terrorism, and they say it's possible that the attacker was a so-called lone wolf. CNN national correspondent Deb Farrick has been following this story. What's the latest here, Deb?
We can tell you, Brianna, that one of the reasons the Columbus Police Department reached out so quickly to the FBI is because there were certain red flags that were raised that caused significant concern. First of all, this was a lone individual. A machete was used, and it seemed to be a random attack in a public place. The attack happened at the Nazareth Middle Eastern restaurant in Columbus, Ohio.
Some guy pulled out a machete and started stabbing people. I ran out with my kids.
A man with a machete attacked and injured 4 people, one of them critically.
There was a table right in front of me. He just started attacking people.
I thought it was a personal thing, and then he just started down the row hitting everybody with something. I don't know. People were bleeding.
Officials say the attacker is 30-year-old Mohammed Berry. He's of Somali origin and has a drug-related criminal record. The FBI is looking into Berry's recent travel and any potential links to jihad. The restaurant is owned by an Israeli Arab Christian. Hani Baransi tells the Columbus Dispatch the attacker was apparently inside the restaurant asking an employee about him.
I was told that he left, came back 30 minutes later, and attacked a person and then start slicing up people down the booths.
People inside the restaurant fought back, some of them throwing chairs, another confronting the suspect.
Nobody inside, from the people that we've spoken to, whether it be some of the patrons or the employees, nobody said that they knew him.
The suspect fled, driving off with multiple police cruisers chasing.
Trying to get out of the vehicle. He's getting ready to go again. Please move again.
Police say they got the suspect to stop. He tried escaping out of the passenger door with his weapons.
He had a machete and another knife in his hand, and he lunged across the hood at the officers. Another officer in a cruiser fired a couple shots at him and put him down.
One person, initially critical, was rushed into surgery and is now listed in stable condition. And the FBI is investigating this as a possible act of terrorism, but they haven't ruled out the possibility that could also be a hate crime. Brianna.
All right, Deb Farrick, thank you for that report. I do want to dig deeper on this now. Very disturbing story. We have our law enforcement experts here to discuss this. We're joined by CNN Justice reporter Evan Perez, and we have CNN law enforcement analyst Tom Fuentes. He is a former FBI assistant director. Do we know anything else, Evan? Are investigators learning anything more about the motivation behind this?
Well, one of the more interesting things about this is the fact that about 30 minutes before this attack, Brianna, the attacker, Barry, went into the restaurant and apparently asked about the owner. Apparently the restaurant is decorated with Israeli flags. The owner is Israeli, but he is an Arab Christian. And so one of the possibilities that investigators are pursuing is that the attacker thought that he was attacking a Jewish-owned business, an Israeli Jewish-owned business. Turns out it was an Arab Christian business that he was attacking, and it may have just been a case of mistaken identity. So that's one of the avenues and one of the reasons why they're looking at this as possible terrorism.
So where does that leave investigators, Tom, between looking at this as a hate crime or as a lone wolf terrorist act?
Well, in the beginning, Brianna, they're not going to have a theory to go on. I mean, they don't want to be, tainted in any direction. So they're going to obtain the internet records, the phone records, talk to friends, neighbors, work colleagues of his, and try and find out if there's any indication of what the true motive was. So for now, they're just investigating, trying to see what it is. As Evan said, it could be, that could qualify as a terrorist act, it could qualify as a hate crime, or you might be a garden variety psychopath, and we have plenty of those running around.
Yeah, certainly we've seen that. All right, Tom, Evan, thank you guys so much. And coming up,